Welcome back now. This is Business Breakfast coming to you from our studios here in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. All right, the call to remove subsidy has again resurrected and gaining popularity amongst experts as they call on the Nigerian government to remove subsidy and channel the fund to developing infrastructure. One of them is the World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Shuban Chaudhry, asking the federal government to channel that fund to primary healthcare, basic education and rural roads. Chaudhry decried the continuous spending of the government as figure rises to 2.9 trillion in 2021, a figure corroborated by the NNPC through its subsidiary, the Petroleum Product Marketing Company, confirming that annual subsidy on premium motor spirit will rise to 3 trillion naira if the current market realities persist. Now let's explore this latest development. Mr. Balazaka is a petroleum engineer and a chartered accountant. He joins us via the telephone now. Mr. Zaka, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time once again.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, listeners and viewers.
Yeah. All right, there's so much conversations around subsidy removal in recent time, whether it is right for the government to remove it or not. So let's get started with your position on this debate.
Mistake, quote me, and I'm ready to have a national debate or a continental or a global debate in the context of Nigeria. The biggest mistake the government of Nigeria will do, or the economic leaders of Nigeria will make, is to remove subsidy on the only product that so many citizens are depending on to get energy or power for their activities, and that is on petrol. By the time they remove this subsidy, they will know how poor Nigerians are. By the time they try to remove that subsidy, that is when the shame of and blame of Nigeria will be exposed to the entire world. And as I speak to you, there is a big mistake people are making, no matter how educated they are. Whenever we want to discuss subsidy, let us discuss it in the context of Nigeria. But let us start by the global definition of subsidy. Subsidy is an economic pain cushioning concept. Subsidy is not a Nigerian balance. Subsidy is a globally accepted concept that is used to cushion economic pains. So if the subsidy in Nigeria is not working, that does not invalidate that global concept. But apart from that, I want everybody to know that in the context of Nigeria, Nigeria has a population of about 200 million citizens.
Right.
And Nigeria has strategic industrial sectors, strategic commercial sectors, and strategic domestic sectors, all depending on less than 10,000 megawatts of electricity. Divide 10,000 megawatts of electricity by 200 million citizens and those sectors, and that is when you will know that Nigeria does not have energy or power. And if you don't have energy or power, how can you drive production? Many of the people talking are theoretical people. None of those people has been in production. As I'm speaking to you now, I won't be surprised if your studio is running on diesel or petrol. Check how much you spend on diesel or petrol and tell me if you will break even. So I'm not interested in joining arguments with people who are completely theoretical. They compare Nigeria with countries that have no problem with electricity, no problem with roads, no problem with healthcare. The biggest mistake Nigeria will do is to remove subsidy on the only product remaining. And we wouldn't be surprised if we will experience economic and social anarchy.
All right. Let me quickly come in. I mean, this conversation actually is coming on the back of the recent rally in oil prices, which the country has tagged a double-edged sword. I mean, you know that the oil prices has gone up in recent time, and coming that suggestion to remove subsidy coming from the country's director, that is the World Bank country's director, Ashuban Chaudhry for Nigeria. I mean, do you think that suggestion is not significant enough?
With due respect to the country director and the statement he made, we also have a reputable Nigerian in the person of Dr. Adewumi Adeshino, the current president of African Development Bank. Last week, Dr. Adeshino said, for any business to survive in Nigeria today, that business must use generator. And what drives generators? It's either petrol or diesel. So if that country director is saying that, with due respect to him, what can we ignore what a reputable Nigerian and a current president of African Development Bank like Femi Adesina is saying?
Right.
And when you talk about that business and driving the business with generator, what do you require to run the generators? You require petrol or diesel. So when I hear people talking, okay, they have removed subsidy on diesel, what has been the benefit? The only thing they succeeded in doing is they've succeeded in killing many companies. That's why you see substandard products everywhere. That's why you see substandard drugs everywhere. That's why the price of a sachet of pure water is about 20 naira now, heading towards 30 naira and will eventually get to 50 naira. Yesterday we experienced a building collapse in Nigeria in a place called Lagos around Gerard Axis. I can tell you the 21-story building that collapsed, by the time the investigation is over, you will hear that substandard materials were used. The only reason why they were using substandard material was because they wanted to break even. The factories that produce the steel, the plumbing materials and the rest, they are also running on generators that will require so much diesel. There are so many examples all over the world. I mean, all over the country.
Yeah, so in essence, that's a reflection of the reality that we're in. But let's talk about deregulation. The government is talking tough to ending subsidy by June 2022. Of course, it's not now to deregulation of the oil sector. So how do you suppose that will pan out without subsidy removal?
Okay, even without the deregulation, you can see the business climate hostilities. You can see what inflation is doing to Nigeria. You can see what Nigeria balance of trade is. It is heading towards zero and negative. This is even without deregulation. Just imagine what will happen when we go into deregulation. And the most painful aspect of it is that Nigeria wants to embark on what we call import-focused deregulation, which is dangerous, which is going to finally seal the coffin on the economic fortunes of the country. So it's very, very clear. How can you have a country where you have so much raw materials, but you still go ahead and import finished products? Everybody knows that sink Nigerian economy abyss. A very funny thing that a lot of people talk about, because since for more than 10 years from now, I've always been against import-focused deregulation. The current government was in power then. Go back and check my YouTube and discussions then. So I feel deregulation.
Okay. Mr. Zaka, can you hear me? I think we're having, audio issues with connecting with Mr. Bala Zaka there. All right, we'll take a moment. If you can hear me, can you hear me, Mr. Zaka?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, just hold on a moment. We will be back to talk more, and when we come back, we'll look at, of course, what safer measures should be taken, or steps should be taken, and then what do you consider the regulation in the context of Nigeria economy, as you put earlier? I think we need to look at some of these issues that you put on the table.
No problem.
So just hang in a moment. You're still watching Business Breakfast coming to you live from our studios here. We'll take a moment. We'll be back to discuss more. Please stay with us. Glad to have you back now. This is Business Breakfast coming to you live from our studios here in Lagos. All right, we're talking about deregulation and subsidy remover. Mr. Balazaka, a petroleum engineer and chartered accountant, he's on the phone. Thank you for your time, Mr. Balazaka. Let's continue from where we stopped before we went on break. We're going to talk about safer measures that should be taken in the context of the Nigeria economy that you talked about earlier. So deregulating, removing subsidy, whether to be or not, at this time, what safer step or measures do you think should be taken now?
Okay, before I talk about the safer measures, there is something I just want to say. Before the current political leadership came into power,
right,
maybe like 10 years ago or the rest, there were a set of psychophants also. Whenever we were talking about government being careful, psychophants will just come out and were thinking people like me were against the government. And I was surprised again. As I speak to you now, we have another set and a bunch of psychophants who will be telling you not to talk. Meanwhile, everybody knows minimum wage today. Everybody knows what how disposable income has been eroded by inflation. Everybody knows about business climate hostilities. Everybody knows that a responsible country should convert raw materials into finished goods, because that's where you really have value. So I feel surprised when I hear people thinking, oh, somebody is against the government. People are limited in knowledge, and psychophants have been using lies, all kinds of lies, to discourage Nigerians from talking. There was a time when they said we were importing so much petrol because the country was losing to smugglers, and I said it was a lie. People have forgotten that because of the pandemic, many people are now working at home. Both multinationals and private companies and even public workers are now working at home. And when they work at home, what do they need to power to power their computers and transact? They need petrol or diesel. So let's go straight to deregulation, to be or not to be. First of all, as far as I'm concerned, more than 10-15 years ago, I said the economic model our leaders have been using was the wrong economic model. And if we continue like that way, Nigeria was only going to sink. And as I speak to you, Nigeria is very, very poor and truly a third world country. The economy of Nigeria is too weak and poor for Nigerian economy to be run as a capitalist economy. And to that extent, anything called deregulation will destroy the economy. And let me tell you the meaning of deregulation in the context of Nigeria, or even global context. When you say deregulation, what you are basically saying is this: that person is free to go to anywhere, import at any amount, bring it to Nigerians and sell at any amount. And once you allow, that means somebody can go buy his diesel or petrol or kerosene from anywhere, bring it, and can sell a liter at 300 naira.
Right.
Can sell a liter at 500 naira. Because once you say, as a government, you have deregulated, then the person can sell at any amount. And if you decide to challenge him, the person can sue you. You can only check for qualities. Then look at the minimum wage. Look at how weak the economy is. Virtually everything is being imported because we don't have energy. If you provide electricity today, I bet you there will be blood at the filling station, to the point where even if you sell a liter of petrol 10 naira, people may not buy. Most of the petrol and diesel that are bought today are not to run cars. They are to run generators. And I heard other people also saying, when the petrol we are using, it is subsidized because it's for consumption, that we are subsidizing consumption. It's a lie. It is because those people have limited knowledge of economy. Those people you see buying this petrol, it's not for consumption. It's a part of the things they need to achieve their production activities. So people are not buying this petrol to go and sit down and be watching Big Brother Niger. They are using this petrol to drive generator, get power and operate their barbing salon, and to operate their computer center, and to operate their other activities, and to go into the internet and transact. So when I hear people saying we are subsidizing consumption, it's because of their limited knowledge of economy, or they are bloody psychopaths and are suffering from economic insolvency.
You don't think that it's a different opinion or concept now, because we probably differ in concept and how economy should work. You don't think that is what is happening in this?
No, the essence of life is about differences, but we need to talk in national interest and converge. Many of those people that are talking and are saying deregulate or remove the price, ask them a simple question: how many of them is producing, even if it is biscuit?
Okay,
how many of them is having a studio like you and is buying petrol or diesel?
Yes, let's wrap it up now with this now. I mean, the government said the government spending on subsidy could hit about 3 trillion by December 2021. And so, and you have also highlighted the disadvantage and of course the impact, negative impact on the economy should Nigeria, go the way of deregulation and subsidy removal. At this point, perhaps Nigeria is torn between the Deep Blue Sea and the Red Sea. What should happen at this time?
Nigeria is not between the Deep Blue Sea and the Red Sea. It's a lie. It's just because people are psychophantic. If China was to be having the kind of crude oil that we are having, would China be exporting the crude oil? If India is having the kind of crude oil that we are having, will they be exporting? They will not export. They will rather export finished goods. Those who are bent on making sure Nigeria should not have functional refineries are those that are suffering from what we call economic and national respect insolvency. It's just the simple truth. Nigeria, no OPEC nation is there without functional refineries. If you have functional refineries, there will be sufficiency and we can sell the finished products. As long as Nigeria continues to insist on selling crude materials and crude oil, I will never support their kind of deregulation.
I think we will have to bring you back again. Yes, I think we'll have to bring you back again to discuss more of these. We cannot just exhaust this conversation in a day. Thank you so much, Abalazaka, petroleum engineer and chartered accountant. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on Business Breakfast.
Thank you, and God bless our great country, Nigeria.
Thank you.